We're headed to Amsterdam. And for knitters and the yarn obsessed like me, that means a visit to the world-famous yarn shop, Stephen and Penelope. I've got all the scoop for you right here, so grab a beverage, grab a project, and we'll get right into it. Hi, I'm Melanie, and you're watching Yarn Journeys. I'm a knitter, a spinner, and a sometimes sewist, and I live in Arlington, Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C. If you've watched a Yarn Journeys episode before, well, welcome back. I know it's been a little while. And if you're new to my channel, well, I am so glad you've found me. Here's what's up for today's video. First, we're going to go check out 3 of Amsterdam's amazing yarn shops. I'll update you on the progress of my current projects. And last but not least, we'll explore the beauty of Amsterdam's canal and amazing architecture. For some historical context, Amsterdam is quite the history in the wool trade. In the Dutch heyday of the 16th and 17th centuries, the city was a center for the European wool exchange, mainly with wool coming from England and then being spun and woven into fabric and textiles that the Dutch then exported throughout the rest of Europe and to even other parts of the world. Rembrandt's famous painting, The Syndics of the Drapers Guild, shows wealthy members comparing a swatch to a book of, quality signifiers, and their stamp of approval of textiles helped weavers set their prices. This painting sort of witness to how textiles generated wealth for the Dutch. Now, the painting now lives on as the logo of the Dutch Masters Cigar Company, but anyway, I digress. So as it happens, women provided a lot of value to the Dutch textile business because they did a lot of spinning yarn that were then woven into the textiles for export. So a good spinner was a great catch. In this 16th century painting, a young woman is taking up the yarn she has just spun onto her niddy noddy as a young man with a tankard looks to seduce her. He not only finds her pretty, but is also perhaps hoping that she will keep him in beer. I think she looks a little skeptical, don't you think? Then there is this portrait of a woman at her spinning wheel that is part of a marriage portrait. She is a new bride, and here she is, once again, demonstrating her worth to the married couple's household as her brand new husband is keeping the books. In the Rijksmuseum, along with the beautiful art and paintings that document the importance of the wool trade and yarn, they also have a wonderful collection of 17th century knitted hats. These were found in a cemetery of a Dutch colony of whalers in Norway, in the town of Spitsbergen. Now, these are faded, but I feel like the hat patterns look quite modern, reminding me of double layer hat patterns such as Ysolda Teague's Musselburgh. One hopes that they were quite warm for these men who were working the seas of the North Atlantic. Of course, they were all made with hand spun, lovingly spun up by their Dutch family members and knitted up back at home. But that was centuries ago. Now Amsterdam is home to several yarn shops where knitting is quite popular, and let's visit 3 of them, shall we? I was lucky enough to visit in December of 2023, just as the city was gearing up for the holiday season. So first up is Hooks and Yarn, which I saw as a lovely community local yarn shop. It is conveniently located to Wester Park and the Jordan neighborhood. I had particularly enjoyed the rosettes of yarn on the wall, which was an amazing display of color and yarn types. They have a wonderful selection of well-known European brands like Novita and Fonti, as well as some hand-dyed yarns, including their own house brand of hand-dyed. They have a wonderful selection of books and magazines in both Dutch and English. This book by Melissa Leitman caught my eye as something I might want to look into because I'm always looking to learn how to make my knits fit me better. Of course, I had to walk away with something, and I found this lovely skein of sock yarn. It's called Carmen by Gusto Wool. And the design here is that it is space dyed with, it's got this solid gray, which I'm hoping you can see, and then it also has this speckled green and yellow. And the idea here is that when it is knit up in stockinette, it looks like you are doing color work and stripes, and so it gives you this lovely pattern design. I love that idea. I love socks as a travel pattern, and I don't want a sock pattern to be too complicated so that I can, work on it when I'm talking with friends or I'm on the train and so forth. But the complicated dye makes the socks look more fancy than they are. So Gusto Wool Carmen comes in lots of different colorways. This particular one, well, it's got a number. So it is color 1405. Next up is Die Afstap. This is on a small alleyway between the Herengracht and Singelgracht canals. Definitely look at a map. It's easy to miss because that alleyway is a bit narrow. But it is a gorgeous jewel box of a yarn shop. It is stuffed from floor to ceiling with lots and lots of yarn in beautiful colors. This local yarn shop to me seemed to target the knitter who is super interested in color work and lace. And more complex techniques. What gives me this point of view is, largely from the samples and the kits they had on display. They, in particular, had many, many kits from Crystal Seyfarth. I think that's how, Seyfarth? Crystal Seyfarth, that's how you pronounce her name. Apologies if I've got that wrong. You might have seen Crystal Seyfarth on Fruity Knitting. I know she is one of Andrea's favorite designers, and in fact there was a sample of one of Crystal's designs that I know Andrea has knit. They also had a lot of Rowan yarn like felted tweed and other yarn brands that are particularly targeted for Fair Isle and stranded color work. They also had a lot of knitting for olives colors. But what I was really thrilled to see was British Breeds yarn from Marie Wallen. That is really hard to find in person here in the States. And I don't think my iPhone camera did the subtlety of the heathering of this yarn justice, but it was sort of, when one sees how expensive Marie Wallen's British Breeds yarns are, one thinks, okay, I've got, a lot of Jameson and Smith or Jameson Spindrift. That is, not so expensive. Why would I spend, a lot more on Marie Wallen's British Breeds? Well, having seen it in person, I think I get it. This yarn is really beautifully in its heathering and its inclusion of different colors. And yeah, now I want to knit with it too. By the way, if you are enjoying the show, please do hit that like button. It really will help folks just like you find this show and the channel. Thanks so much. And last, of course, is Stephen and Penelope, the yarn shop owned by famous designer Stephen West. It is very easy to get to, centrally located and only a few blocks walk from Amsterdam's Dam Square. When you get to this yarn store, you are greeted by a life-size cutout of Stephen West. So there is then no doubt why you are there. The place is just jam-packed full of Stephen's favorite yarns that he talks a lot about in his videos, such as Ching Fiber and Parkour Kitties. And of course, there is also Stephen's own yarn brands, Bicycle and Tandem yarns. Now, one of the things that I really enjoy about Stephen is how much he promotes new independent yarn producers. I thought this Shangdrak yarn, I think that's how you pronounce it, which is yarn that features wool from Tibetan shepherds and yak herders, really quite beautiful. And I had not heard of it before. Now, let's be honest. This is not a place you will come to find bargains. The yarn here is expensive, and it is beautiful though. I mean, and they have so many colors. So it's a lot of fun to walk through and pet the yarn. So just if you visit Amsterdam and you decide to go to Stephen and Penelope, just be forewarned. Have a plan for what you think you might want to get there. I did, of course, as you might guess, buy a few things. First is just this fun little yarn tote bag as a memento of my trip to Amsterdam. It has got all these lovely icons of Dutch culture. You have, flowers and the girl with the pearl earring, Delft pottery, and I just happen to love this color of hot pink. So this will be a fun project bag. While I was there, Stephen was promoting his Hyber Knit Along that started on December 26th. And I thought, I thought that shawl was really beautiful, the glittering Snowscapes shawl. So I bought some yarn for it and I did cast on. So this is actually a great segue to show and tell. So let's just go there. So this is the progress I've made so far on my glittering Snowscapes shawl. It is a little bit in timeout, and I'll explain. But it is a crescent-shaped shawl. You start with an I-cord tab cast on in the center, and then go out. And I, of course, had to buy the yarn at Stephen West, Stephen and Penelope. And the yarn I got is from a Dutch independent yarn dyer called Undercover Otter. So here are my colors. This one, the light, is the fog, which is sort of this moody light gray. Then the next color in my gradient is this one called Silver Bullet, which is a gray with a bit of almost a bluey purpley cast. Then I have the Cyclone Trip, which I don't know if you can see, there's some purple shot through in there. Next up is Van Helsing, which is a darker, more bluey purple gray. And then finally is Uncle Fester, which in this light, I think it's coming out quite purple, but it's also really quite dark gray. So that will be a nice gradient for this shawl. Now, I actually am really quite enjoying knitting this, and I am learning quite a bit, exploring new stitches and so forth. And I think it is going to be beautiful when it's complete. I do take issue a bit with Stephen's pattern because there are no charts. And as you can see, this is the granite laced section right here. Oops, I'm on the wrong side. This is let's see. This is the arrowhead lace section. It's all, it's lace. It's a bit scrunched up. But I found myself knitting and then re-knitting, and this last section, which is called pillar stitch here, I've actually done it wrong. But I actually kind of like the way it looks. So I'm having a think about whether or not I want to rip back and do it again, because I don't think it's that important. But no charts. And in fact, in the Ravelry group for the Hybrid Knit Along, a few of the knitters actually created charts for other members of the Knit Along. And, I think Stephen is amazingly creative. I think it's truly wonderful how prolific he is and how he creates community with his patterns and his knit-alongs. But, dude, I wish you'd put in some charts. And I think it's, yeah, because I don't know about you, but I am someone who finds charts immensely helpful when knitting complicated stitches. It helps me visualize what I'm supposed to be doing more than just reading the pattern row by row. That is my quibble with Stephen West. But I'm going to start knitting on that again very soon. So going a little out of order, we're going to back up and talk finished objects, right? Because you may have noticed that I am wearing my Between Petals pullover. The pattern is by Ukrainian designer Teti Lusak, who currently makes the Netherlands her home. So we're on theme here. I am really, really happy with how this turned out. You can see it's a little cropped, but that it is great to wear with dresses and high-waisted pants. The neckline I knit last. So I provisionally cast on the neck, then I knit the yoke, then the body, and then the balloon sleeves, which I actually really love, came last. They did take a lot of time though. Balloon sleeves are time consuming, which I guess I could have seen coming, but I'm really happy with the result. And I love, love, love this yarn. This is the Merino DK from Simple Hill Farm in the Shenandoah Valley, and well, it's really soft, toothy without being like rustic. And I think this is going to be one of my go-to yarns for DK weight sweaters in the future. I just love wearing this sweater. And I have another finished object to share with you. This is my Bright Side shawl. The yarn is Cozy Colorworks, and I got this yarn at the Shenandoah Valley Fiber Festival. The pattern is by Lori B. It's a free pattern, easy to find on Ravelry. I will link to the pattern below. And it's an assigned pooling pattern. This was my travel project as I was on my way to Amsterdam and elsewhere in Europe. More on that later. So what I love about this is that it looks complicated, yet is really great and easy knitting. All you have to do is when you come upon red stitches is to purl if you are on the right side and knit if you are on the wrong side. So you get this lovely texture and color, and it blocks out beautifully. So Cozy Colorworks, Bright Side, they are online. Great travel project. It is a merino and nylon blend. This is going to be a great shawl to wear in the shoulder season between winter and spring. So very pleased with how it came out. And I did some sewing, y'all. So hanging on a hook here is a smock I made for spinning. I was finding that while I was spinning, I would get fiber all over my pants, particularly, which is a problem if you're wearing black jeans. And I thought, I want to get better at sewing. So I ended up taking Sew Liberated's Studio Tunic class. It's an online course and it walks you through how to up your sewing skills. So it was perfect for me and my trouble with interfacings at the neck and armholes. Anywho, it works perfectly because it has these great big pockets that I can stuff fiber in. and the cotton linen chambray blend won't have fiber sticking to it. So my new spinning spock, handmade by me. Now I am excited to do some more sewing because this class really got my confidence up. By the way, let me know if you are into sewing. This is really, well, the show is called Yarn Journeys, but I do hope to be getting into some more sewing projects in the future. I'll share about that a little bit, but are you a sewist as well as a knitter or a spinner? How do you balance all of those different crafts that one can get into? I mean, I don't know about you, but I just want to make all the things. I want to knit all the things. I want to spin all the fiber. I want to make all the makes. And I have a project list that I could go into for a long time. So, one just has to find balance, I suppose. So those are my project updates. Want to see more of Amsterdam? Well, what's great about going to Amsterdam in the winter is that you can wear your knits. So here's a peek of all the beauty that we got to see in Amsterdam. Amsterdam amazes with its beautiful canals and Baroque architecture. I so enjoyed watching the boats glide through the canals. And indeed, there are bicycles everywhere. This drawbridge provided good entertainment while we were sipping our coffee at a coffee shop. Meanwhile, a nearby Smurf had a relaxing snooze. At night, the city lights light up the beautiful architecture. All night long, bicycles and pedestrians zoom across the bridges. And the Royal Palace glows in Dam Square in central Amsterdam. We were lucky on a somewhat clear night to see the moon rise over the Singelgracht. When in Amsterdam, you have to sample the stroopwafels and take in the cafe culture. With a ham and cheese toastie and some bitterballen. They don't call it Dutch apple pie for nothing. One morning we got to take in a local market with purveyors of cheeses and fish and bakery. It was so much fun to walk through the market with the locals as they were picking up goodies for their families. And we got to try some poffertjes, which are these little pancakes that are flipped in these little tins and then served decadently with Nutella and powdered sugar if you like. And on the last day of our trip, we enjoyed some lovely Dutch beer. So that was Amsterdam. But do stay tuned because on this trip, I went to Brussels and Paris. So I'll be featuring those cities in future episodes. Very shortly, I'll be getting on a train to go to New York for Vogue Knitting Live. And I'll be sure to bring back a report for you on the channel. So please do be sure to subscribe to Yarn Journey so that you don't miss the next episode. Thanks so much for watching, and that's all today for Yarn Journeys, where it's you to you around the world. Thanks so much for watching.